Whew. Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on here real quick and talk about something with you. This might be the best lens that I have ever used. It's the Tamron 35-200, 2.0 to 2.8 aperture. What can it not do? Literally, it's my everything lens, and I want to tell you why this is perhaps the best lens that you could ever own. So I've been using this lens now for several months, and what blows me away is the versatility of this. I mean, there's many things that blow me away, but the versatility of this lens is incredible. The fact that I can get a 35, which is kind of your normal focal length, like kind of what your eyes see. So it's a very natural focal length. And then I can zoom in up to 200 at a 2.8 is just really unheard of. So I do a lot of wedding films, and I can tell you this has been a game changer for me, because most of the time, at least before this lens, I would put on primes, right? So you'd have your 35 and then maybe you'd have your 85, or even upwards of, you know, if you had the 200. I never had the 200 or the you know, the 400 even, but I would use those, you know, different focal lengths for different shots. And each time I wanted to use one of those lenses, I'd have to stop, I'd have to put it on, or maybe I'd have two cameras and I'd have an 85 on one of them and you know, my 35 on another, and I just switch back and forth, which worked. But this is a game changer, because literally within a second I can zoom in to whatever focal length I want and not sacrifice the aperture, meaning, you know, I can get a 35 at 2.0, which, you know, primes will get into your 1.4s, 1.2s, you know, really tight, you know, with a lot of that blur and bokeh and all those things. But honestly, you know, unless I'm doing like really detailed work, I'm okay with 2.0, and then I can zoom in and still get a 2.8, which when you're zoomed in, a 2.8 is amazing. So yeah, so let me explain a little bit why I love this lens. By the way, can I just say how nice it is to be back on my one wheel? I know I had a season there where I wasn't really using it a ton, and it's been dead of winter, so I haven't really used it a ton here recently, but I'm excited to be back on my one wheel. Of course I have my helmet on, and of course I'm watching out for yeah, those speed bumps that threw me off last time. Anyway, let me tell you the first reason why this lens is a game changer. The first being is all of its focal lengths, and I want to show you what I mean by the varying focal lengths of this lens. But to show you that, let me go ahead and put this lens on. All right, so here is the first focal length. This is a 35 at 2.0 aperture, and look how already you have so much separation. I mean, it looks absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do is I actually want to show you what it looks like when I back up a little bit. I'm going to go to the same spot and I'll show you the different focal lengths as you get tighter. So this is the 35 close up, but let me show you what the 35 is when I step back a little bit. So here I am, this is the 35 at distance, and this is about normal. This is what your eye would normally see. This is a 2.0 aperture. So yeah, not a whole lot here, but this gives you a good depth of field. It gives you a good sense of, you know, your surroundings. And yeah, this works really well for any basic shoot. So here is your 50 millimeter. It looks pretty decent still, punched in a little, but you still get a good distance. You can kind of start seeing a little bit of the separation. I can't see this super well because I'm looking at a little tiny monitor, just see a little bit of myself, but I can tell that already this is punched in and looking pretty decent. So let's move to the next one. All right, this is the 85, and this should look fairly familiar for those of you who use the Prime quite often, the 35 Prime. This looks pretty punched in, has a good look to it. Already you start seeing a lot of the bokeh behind me, so you can kind of start seeing that separation from the background. Yeah, this is looking really good, so let's keep going. This is at 100. This is a pretty good focal length. Okay, now we're getting a little tighter, starting to see the separation, the bokeh. I'm standing out a little bit more, but we still have more to go. This is at 135. 135. Look, I am fairly punched in. I'm starting to lose my hands on the side, right? So I'm getting pretty tight here. And we still have more to go. Trust me, I'm at least 25 feet from the camera, if not 30 feet. So this is really getting close. So I am punched in all the way to 150. This is really, really tight. And I get that some people love the focal length from 70 to 200 because 200 gives you that extra 50 millimeters punch in. But guys, like, this is pretty ridiculous. 150, from 35 to 150, it really does, you know, kind of grab every focal length that you really ever need, especially like a wedding. So if you're a wedding videographer, I would challenge you to find a better lens that reaches all the focal lengths that you use on a shoot. I want that real natural look from 35, but I also want to punch in to get really that real dynamic look, getting the 150 focal length. So I just want to reiterate just how important it has been to be able to have one lens that covers so many focal lengths. And I know I've said that many times already in this video, but it is so vital. It really, really is. To have one lens to put on a camera that I can then, you know, go from all the way 35 to 150. It just saves me so much headache and so much time and so much stress, because when I'm in a shoot, especially, and I just keep going back to weddings because this is where I've seen the biggest difference. I'm not having to waste time or spend time putting on different lenses. This Tamron 35 to 150 has been a game changer for me. Literally any focal length I need within that range, I can get it immediately, and that is priceless for sure. All right, so you're probably wondering, Matt, this sounds too good to be true. You know, what are the downsides? I don't know if I can do this with one hand. We will see. Hold on. All right, and it seems so good to be true. Now there are a couple of downsides. Probably the biggest one is the weight of the actual lens. This is a hefty lens, which is actually a surprise from Tamron, because Tamron seems to be a lens that feels a little cheaper, but this one really is well made, but it has a lot of heavy glass in it. So it is a very stout and heavy lens. So people are driving by watching me record this. So just keep that in mind, especially when you're doing a wedding and you now have this very heavy lens on the whole time, it can get really heavy by the end of the day. And I've had that happen, and I've thought about, you know, is this worth it? But at the end of the day, it is absolutely worth it. It is worth the extra weight for me anyways, and I have it in my setup to where it actually works really, really well. Then the last thing is perhaps price, and I can't recall exactly what I paid for it. Maybe I'll put a little deal in here to let you know how much I paid for it. It was a little pricey. It also, the time that I bought it was right in the middle of the pandemic, and so it wasn't very available. So I ended up actually having to wait almost, I think, 8 months or something like that to actually get the lens. And so I missed a couple of weddings that I was shooting. I didn't have it in my arsenal, but I did get it for the last several, and it was a game changer, absolutely a game changer. So, man, this road is really busy today. I'm in my little town of Claskenai, and here's a little side road, and I've had more traffic go by in the last little bit since I've been recording this than I can recall. So anyway, but so yeah, there are some drawbacks, but you're gonna have to make that choice for yourself. Is it worth spending the extra money? Is it worth carrying around a little more weight on your setup? That's for you to decide. So, the Tamron 35 to 150, not the 200, 35 to 150. Is it the best lens that I have ever used? I can confidently say it absolutely is. If you're a videographer who shoots a lot of run and gun, who does weddings, let me know what you think. Let me know if it's a lens that is beneficial to you. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you got something out of this. I know I'm not extremely technical in my reviews, but I just call it as I see it. Very, very nice lens, easy to use. It's been a lifesaver. Check it out. All right, guys, see you on the next one.